fuel companies and calling on our partners to divest as well. The third is authorizing execution of a contract with the Minnesota Department of Health to accept estimated revenue almost $3 million to implement community and clinic-based strategies to prevent obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. And the fourth item is authorizing execution of a contract with the Minnesota Department of Health to accept an estimated revenue of almost $750,000 for home visiting services for women and young children. And I will move all four items forward for approval.
Councilor Burt.
Okay, let's take item 2 on. Anything on items 1 3 and 4? Seeing none, clerk call the roll on items 1, 3, and 4.
Councilmember Worsam. Aye. Goodman.
Aye.
Frye.
Aye.
Paulson.
Aye.
Gordon. Aye. Thomas.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Bender.
Thank you, Madam President. Councilmember Gordon yields for question.
Councilmember Gordon, you want to answer the question?
I think we discussed on
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have just one question to see if I can get comfortable with this or not, and that is, do we currently invest in fossil fuels in the city of Minneapolis?
Councilmember Gordon?
No, we don't. We had lengthy conversations with the Finance Department. We don't have any investment right now in the fossil fuel extraction company.
So the purpose of this is just to say, yay, we don't do this?
And it's to clarify that we're not going to in the future, and it's to encourage others not to do so. This is very similar to what we did with South Africa many years ago, and also with Sudan more recently, where we made it our clear policy to invest in certain areas.
Okay, so thank you, Madam President.
Any further discussion then on item 2? Seeing none, I'm just going to speak, if I may, and I'm not going to be supporting this today, and I just want to make it clear why, and I appreciate everybody that's down here and the sentiments behind this resolution, but Councilmember Goodman's point is absolutely correct. The city of Minneapolis is prohibited by state law from investing in individual companies. We have no authority to invest in individual companies. And so essentially what this resolution does is, as Councilmember Gordon said, encourage other people not to invest in fossil fuel companies. And that's fine, but I have served on a pension board in my time on the city council, and one of the duties of people on pension board is the fiduciary obligation to the people who are served, who have invested in those pensions. And that means that you are to keep in your mind and obligated to try and get the best returns for people who are invested in those pensions. We have city employees that are invested in existing pensions at the state of Minnesota, where these decisions will actually be made by the Minnesota State Board of Investment. This resolution is actually should be in front of them. But anyway, they made that decision in the light of looking at making sure that their obligation to obtain the best returns for their people that they represent on this pension board will be, they'll get the best returns for those retirees. So again, I appreciate the sentiment. I do want to make one correction too. I think in the resolution, I do believe as we look at, let's see where I took this here. Oh, in the on the second page of the resolution here in the book, it says, whereas the University of Minnesota's endowment funds are valued at over $3.2 billion, the 14 largest investment firms in Minneapolis control investments valued at over $247 million. I would state my paycheck that's $247 billion, not $247 million. So, and the seven largest foundations in Minneapolis have endowments over $2.6 billion. So I would bet that number should be $247 billion. So if you could check on that too before this goes out, gets passed, I appreciate it. So I'm not going to be supporting this today because I think it gives a false impression that we have the authority to do something which we do not. Councilmember Goodman?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm also not going to be supporting this today, but the main reason is because I want to make change. I don't want to make a point. I think it's important for us to actually do something. We have like 1,000 vehicles in our fleet right now, every one of them burning fossil fuels. We are not moving towards any kind of electric vehicle. We have some that are maybe using some plug-in stations, but I think it's important for us to look at our own backyard first and figure out what we're doing before we tell other people what they should be doing. And so it comes from a position, I think, to the left, not to the right. We don't invest in fossil fuels now, thank God. I'm glad we didn't. If we did, I would vote to not invest in fossil fuels. But I think there's many more things we can do in our own backyard before we tell the university or the state what to do. So we have done some amazing environmental work here. Councilmember Glidden, Councilmember Gordon's work on the Clean Energy Partnership. I myself worked on the solar installation at the convention center and on fire stations. As has Councilmember Reich, I worked on a green roof when green roofs were something that no one was interested in, we were made fun of. So there's been a lot of great environmental work done here in this chamber, but ultimately it's about making change, not about making a point. And I maybe would have supported it if Councilmember Gordon had said, it's just like telling people what to do in Sudan. That kind of turned me off. I'm not interested in telling people what to do in Sudan either. I'm hyper-local, and I think it's important for us to focus on what we can do in our own backyard. So no disrespect for anyone who's here today. I think we could actually do something ourselves to help with this debate instead of telling other people what to do.
Councilmember Bender.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be supporting the resolution, which I think is very clear in its text and what it is doing. I appreciate the work of the advocates who brought this forward and who are here today to support this. For most of my life, governments at all levels have taken no action to stop global warming, and that has to change. This is a huge year for global action on climate change, and we should all be doing everything we can to build momentum, whether it's marching in the streets, whether it is taking action that makes the point that the city of Minneapolis does not support investment in fossil fuels, that we need to continue to work together at every single level of community and government to protect the planet and to, even if it affects someone's bottom line. And that's what this year of global action on climate change is about. That's what this resolution is about, and I'm fully supportive.
Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the discussion. I think it's important to realize that right now, our city employees don't have an alternative right now when their employment funds go into the state. Part of this is exactly to try to ask the state to look into this. Just as the state themselves told their investment board to divest from Sudan after this city council in 2007 unanimously voted to do that. So if you were here in 2007, you supported divesting from Sudan. And I think it was a good idea. It sends that message, it sends that signal. If you recall what happened in South Africa, for the longest time, nobody cared about apartheid. And then slowly a movement started, and pretty soon the entire eyes of the world were looking at it and saying, this is a problem, we need to do something about it. We're just rising up right now. I would say on a groundswell of community support saying, we need to do something about climate change. They've already identified enough fossil fuels in the ground to fry the planet. We don't need to keep paying companies to go find more to maybe drive down the cost a little more so it looks like it's okay more to buy more gas and burn more fuel. In fact, I think that will help motivate the city to take more direct action, which I really look forward to working with all of you on to see how we can do that. We've done work on getting electric cars. Absolutely. Let's do more of that. Let's get more city work that can be done without driving around the city. I'm enthusiastically supportive of that. We heard in the testimony from a former city employee, and all she wanted was for her retirement option to include something so that she could say she doesn't want her money that was taken out of her paychecks when she worked for the city investing in fossil fuel extraction companies, and she can't even get that now. The University of Minnesota, to their credit, has tried to carve out an alternative for their retirees so that they can have a fossil-free option. And that's what we're asking for in this resolution. Even if those companies can't divest fully, at least provide individuals that option so that they can think that they're using their little bit of money that we'll do together to make a difference. Just imagine if we took the billions and billions of dollars that we're investing right now in fossil fuels and instead said, let's invest in clean energy. We have a dramatic shift in what's going on here, and we should be asking everybody to do that who's making investments, whether we're individuals talking to our own retirement investors, or whether we're a government body trying to look at what's in the best interest. It might look like this is some national problem, or maybe even international problem, and it probably is. Probably Florida and Arizona are going to suffer before Minnesota does in Minneapolis. But we are going to have repercussions here as well. We're going to have local repercussions as climate change happens. There's going to be health issues, there's going to be food security issues, and there's going to be other things that we don't have. And this is a small thing. And then somebody else at the hearing also said it's symbolic. I understand that it's symbolic, but sometimes it's a small symbolic gesture that end up making the biggest difference.
Councilmember Tom, and then it's in trouble for computer. Councilmember Tom.
Thank you, Madam President. I can't allow me to speak before, but as one of the co-authors of this resolution, I think it's important to differentiate between making a point and being a leader. And so, and as the city of Minneapolis has been a leader on many fronts, I think this falls in line with that spirit and that culture of really helping to connect our resident voices to the future of sustainability and who we are, not only as a city, but as a state and as a nation. We had the opportunity as a city council to meet somebody from the U.S. Navy who talked about how they are looking at climate change issues and how their prime real estate is the waters of the earth. You know, that's where they operate, that's where they navigate, that's where they are. And they have a lot of bases in California, and they're talking about losing those spaces and losing that real estate. And so when a major U.S. government entity like that is aggressively talking about this issue, I think it's very, it kind of puts our resolution in scope, and it's actually not that big of a step forward, but it is very, very symbolic and very important that we fall in line with those conversations. Winona Duke, a very well-known Indigenous activist and environmental justice advocate, talks about the era of extreme extraction. And so now more than ever, we see that we are squeezing the life out of the earth just to continue to live in an unsustainable manner and actually an oppressive relationship with the earth. And so it's no question, and it's not a coincidence that when we exploit the earth and we try to continue to extract from it, women are also going to be exploited. And so I'm talking about fracking now, and I'm talking about the man camps that have been set up in North and South Dakota, and how Indigenous women today from Minneapolis are being human trafficked up north to service the man camps in very unjust ways and ways that we need to stand up to and fight against. And so I hope that all of our colleagues can consider supporting this resolution. We've worked extremely hard with the community members who are here, who are advancing this dialogue, who are championing this voice, who are elevating it. I have kids who are 4 and 5, and I get really worried about their future. I get really, really worried about where they're going to be, what their life is going to be like. There was a recent article that was released by a scientist in California talking about how they only have 1 year of water left. And what does that mean for the crops that we grow and the food that we consume? And one of the activists in the room today said the future is here. So all those movies that we watched and all those transition conversations that we've been having, it's here, it's happening. So it's up to us to take leadership, it's up to us to stand up, and if things need to be more significant, then help us make them more significant. And this resolution is one of the many steps we have to take in that direction.
Councilmember Fry.
Thank you, Madam President. I will be supporting this resolution here. That being said, I am supporting it because of the position. And as Councilmember Good would say, the position is only a position. I think we do need real action. I was just having a conversation actually with my girlfriend last night who works for the Energy Foundation. She's a lobbyist for clean energy specifically. They didn't know that those even existed, but they do. And she mentioned to me that this really is the issue of our generation in terms of social justice. And this is the issue probably of our generation in terms of people. She said, this really is not an environmental issue at all. And that confused me. And I said, why? She said, well, this is really a human issue. The first person that will die of climate change has already been born. And that scared the J-lights at me. So while this is a position that I agree with, I also agree with we do need a little bit more progressive action rather than all progressive talk. And I hope that we do move in that direction.
Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you very much. I just, research here, and the sedan resolution was actually passed in 2008.
In 2008.
Introduced by Hodges and Ostro. And I also wanted to give the council president some credit for her fine attention to detail. Indeed, I did a little checking, and you are correct, it's 247 billion. Maybe that can be considered just a technical amendment, by that, since I said that, and I don't think we have to go on, but I'm correct in that. I'll finish that here. Actually, it goes, because it said over 247 million.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm an advocate and an organizer first, and so in a room full of advocates and organizers, I wanted to highlight how many council members just said they want to take more aggressive, further action that will really make a huge difference. And I hope that you call them now, as soon as you leave this room, to follow up with those meetings, to ask them to author the resolutions that they have committed to bring forward real change on climate change. Our city has taken significant changes. We've adopted a climate action plan full of policies that are ready to be enacted. Some of them already have. Many council members here have authored those changes and supported them over the many years they've served. We have taken significant action on our transportation system and in building in a number of areas, but there is more work to be done. And so I think today is an exciting day where you have heard clear support from council members voting yes or no on this particular resolution and a commitment to take further action after today.
Any further discussion then on health, environment, community engagement, item number 2? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Warsame. Aye. Goodman.
Nay.
Fry.
Aye.
Thomasano.
Aye.
Gordon. Aye. Khan.
Aye.
Wright. Aye. Bender.
Aye.
Little.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Nay.
There are 11 ayes and 2 nays.
That item is approved. Thank you all for joining us. Next, we have intergovernmental relations.